What makes your day great?
Definitely. Yo, Guillermo, what up? Sam Q.
Because this day has been shitty today. Not even gonna lie.
Oh man, this is gonna be great.
It's crazy how this is like the highest selling album, but at the same time, not a lot of people talk about this. I don't understand why.
This is a class. This is definitely one of the best ones, man.
But I agree. It's like my third favorite album from them.
Love it. What up, Kristen? Ronnie, what up? Definitely, definitely, man.
Yeah, much better. I hope this review is be better than last night's live action shit.
I didn't like that album, the Locks album. I didn't like that shit.
Yeah, it could have been way
It
better.
was, it was. I don't know. I like some of the joint with West Side and Benny. I like that one and the Static Selector joint and the like the first three or four, but the rest of the album they just sounded like they were uninterested and it didn't sound good at all. But I mean, so people love it. That's dope. You know what I mean? I just didn't care for it. I don't think they've had a solid album since We Are the Streets. I just feel like that was they was in the zone on that album lyrically. Production was great. Like that album to me, I love that more than the Bad Boy album.
Same.
Because it was more them. Like the Bad Boy album, that was all puffy. You could tell you could hear like their sound, and then you could hear the Bad Boy sound on that first one. But I love the Rough Riders album more.
Yeah, the Rough Riders album, that's like their best one.
And that one, I need to get that while we are the streets. I know that's out of print. I need to get that one. But not Nas album is definitely better than Locks one in my opinion.
Oh, that's a given.
Yeah,
That's that.
way way better. He was focused on that album on KPZ.
By the way, since I'm on these restrictions, no later than 8 o'clock and shit like that, then the
Okay,
video should be so probably like around 8. I'll end it.
all right, well, that's cool. I'm gonna be on Guillermo's live stream for the game tonight, so
Facts.
that's great.
Oh, I forgot.
Anybody watching the VMAs tonight? I'm not watching it. You watching it?
There's not really that many interesting people I'm kind of looking forward
Right.
to. I'm just gonna
I
catch.
want to see Lady Gaga perform because I listen to her latest album and I like it, but other than her and Ariana, I don't really care to see like nobody else. And I don't know. I think it's gonna be half virtual and half they're gonna be at the Barclays Center too.
Yeah,
So I don't know how they doing that.
yeah. Loki, when it comes to the VMAs, I kind of lost interest in it.
How are
But
they still having VMAs and they don't show videos on it? I don't understand that.
exactly,
Yeah, the VMAs is tonight. It's at Barclays Center.
and that explains it because not that many people know the VMAs are
Right.
tonight.
That's right a couple blocks from me. I could walk from my house to the Barclays Center. That's how I'm in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? I used to go to school down there though at Bishop Lockton, back in the day, but I don't know how they doing that. Yeah, I want to see Lady Gaga perform, and that's really about the weekend. I want to see. I think he's gonna be there. I want to see him. I know he's nominated in like the major categories, like for Video of the Year for uh forgot the name of the song. Blind. What was it? Blindness or something?
Yeah,
Blinded. Yeah, that joint. He's nominated for that for Video of the Year, and
I hope he wins.
yeah. He had a great album. I definitely enjoyed it. I still play it.
Yeah,
You know.
because that after hours joint grew on me myself. So
Right. Well, I've always been a Weekend fan from like the Thursday mixtapes and House of Balloons. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I do feel like he need to switch up his content. He sings about the same thing a lot, but I love his stuff. I don't think he's had a bad album yet.
um, He hasn't had a bad album, a couple of inferior albums. I'm just gonna say that.
Right. How did you feel about Kissland? Because Kissland to me, I think is like his weakest, but I know a lot of people love that one.
What year did that one come out again?
That was 20, I think 2013, 2014. I want to say.
Yeah, that was pretty straight. I have to re-listen to it to keep it a buck with you.
Right. But yeah, like Beauty and the Madness and Starboy. I loved all of those albums. You know,
Yeah,
the trilogy album is basically all three mixtapes in one. Like Thursdays, House of Balloons and Echoes of Silence. They just combined it all in one and called it a trilogy because it was like a trilogy of his mixtapes.
right.
But I love all his stuff. I think he's one of the best in pop music. You know, and now
Yeah, I'm ready for that Brandy and Monica battle too.
yes, I'm gonna definitely see that tomorrow. Definitely, that should be good. It's definitely great for the genre. You know, they both legends. I'm going with Brandy. I feel like Brandy has the better discography and the bigger hits, but Monica got big hits too.
I agree.
You know, I didn't care for her albums during like the 2010s though. Like a lot of her albums, I didn't care for.
Yeah, I did like the Everything I Am album. I have to
Right,
re-listen to it 2010 still.
right. I know she had like I remember watching that one. She had like a reality show on BET,
Yep.
and she was like recording. I was it the Still Standing album or something, and Ludacris was on the first single. That's like her cousin or something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember that. And one of those albums had Wale, not Wale. Was it Wale? Wale was on one of her albums, you know. But I didn't really care for those albums. They don't stand up to like Miss Thing and what's the second album? The Boy's Mind and even After the Storm. I think those were like her best albums.
I agree.
Before Weekend over Drake, Drake is like PM Dawn. No, I totally disagree on that. PM Dawn, I feel like PM Dawn for the '90s era, they were misunderstood with their messages, like with religion and stuff like that. They were misunderstood, and I feel like that's why the rap game didn't um understand them, and they just totally ignored them. But like even myself, 'cause a lot of stuff when I started listening to PM Dawn, I was like about maybe 11, 12, and a lot of the shit they were talking about, like on Paper Doll and joints like that, they went over my head. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I definitely always liked them because they were different. They stood out. You know, like just like De La Soul and the Native Tongue family, they stood out and they sound like nobody else. But I feel like in this era, and I had this conversation with Reg like 2 years ago. If PM Dawn had came out now, I think they would have been more accepted than they was back in 1990, 1991. They were misunderstood. Even like that whole thing with Kerris One, I think that was a whole misunderstanding. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think Drake is like PM Dawn. I think Drake, he has his own lane, and a lot of artists now, even dead artists have copied what he's done. But it's not nothing new because it was done before Drake. You know, the Bone Thugs and Harmony was harmonizing. You know, you had Force D's back in the '80s that was harmonizing and rapping. So it's not, Domino. People sleep on Domino. He was doing it before Drake.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But it's just that Drake made a resurgence with that. The same way T Pain made a resurgence with the auto tune, with the vocoder machine. He made a resurgence. You know, being an artist, a popular artist that can both rap and sing. And you see like a lot of artists like Wiz Khalifa, even Mac Miller used it. You know, he sang every now and then. So I feel like Drake opened up that lane for a lot of artists now to do that, to copy what he's doing.
Right. And what do you think of Drake's new music? I don't really listen to Drake like that, so
I didn't hear the was it mixtape? The mixtape. I know he got a new album coming out. I didn't hear the mixtape though, but I like his early stuff. So Far Gone, Nothing Was the Same. Take Care, Thank Me Later. I like those, but I don't care for like the recent stuff like More Life. I didn't like that. The Views album. Scorpion was cool. It wasn't a great double album though.
if you're reading this is too late, it's probably my favorite Drake album.
Right. Yeah, that was cool.
Sure.
Favorite song from Force MDs, Let Me Love You. Forgive Me Girl. I like those joints.
Here I go again.
I have Let Me Love You on the 12 inch, and I have the second album on vinyl. The was it Touch or something? Touch of You, something like that.
Yeah.
The one with the ballad. Love Is a House. That
You
joint.
got the key.
Yeah, that joint. I got the
My
second album.
Ooh.
We got to discuss some Force and D's one day, definitely. I
Hey,
want to do that with Freezy also. I know Freezy is a big '80s rap head, so
true. Ronnie asked, "What y'all think about Stevie Wonder's Characters album? Pretty solid album.
I never heard that one.
It's not better than In Square Circle in my opinion, but
Right.
yeah, they had that song Skeletons. Love that track.
Yeah, I know that song.
Yeah, he did a track with Michael Jackson on that.
Right.
What do you think of the Jungle Fever soundtrack?
I thought it was decent. I remember listening to that when the movie came out. You know, it was I liked the title track and these three words and I
Ooh,
thought it was I thought it like I thought that soundtrack fit with the movie because you know like when you see a movie and then when the soundtrack come out it don't fit with the whole tone and theme of the movie, but I feel like that soundtrack was perfect for the movie.
for real. A lot of
That was
people
a good soundtrack. A lot of people sleep on that album. I don't know why.
I think it's because the fact that it was like a lot more New Jack Swing on that album.
Right,
Because
right,
1991, that was the year when MJ, Patti LaBelle, Prince, Loki went New Jack Swing. So,
right.
but these three words though,
Yeah,
oh,
that's a dope song. I
top
love that song.
15
Definitely.
songs, man. Like the Soul Train performance of that was legendary. The Autumn
I gotta
Soul
see that.
Train, huh?
I gotta see that performance.
I'm gonna send it to you. Hold on.
Do you listen to pop music? Yeah, I've been listening to pop music since the '80s. Even before, I mean, when rap was just starting, I was a big pop music fan. You know, Cyndi Lauper and Culture Club, Pat Benatar, a lot of pop music that came out back then. You know, my taste was always different. You know, Hall and Oates is one of my favorites. You know,
Love
early Phil Collins with Genesis. That's my mom played that stuff around the house when I was like 6, 7 years old. So I grew up with a lot of pop music in the house, and you know, when rap was slowly becoming a genre. That was like it took over my soundtrack. It became like my primary music. But I grew up with a lot of pop music.
yes. Yeah, I like certain rap myself too, so I
Yeah.
can put fun on that.
Even now, I mean, I don't feel like pop music is the same, but there's certain artists, like I said, Lady Gaga. I started listening to Lady Gaga when the Fame album came out. So I was a big Lady Gaga fan. I still listen to her. You know, I like Ariana Grande. I think she has a beautiful voice. The Weeknd, you know, love his stuff. You know, Doja Cat. I listened to Doja Cat's album. I actually liked it, but I feel like Doja Cat is a carbon copy of Nicki. You know what I'm saying? But
These female rappers are low key.
yeah, pop music is not the same like it used to be. You know what I'm saying? But I prefer like '80s pop.
Yeah, to me, the '80s was the golden era of pop, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Genesis. I have the Invisible Touch album from Genesis. I love that album. Definitely want to discuss that one day.
Yeah, man. But I'm ready when you are and stuff like
I'm
that.
ready.
All right, what's up, YouTube? How's everyone doing this lovely Sunday evening? It's your boy Reg in the building. I got my homeboy Try with me.
Bro.
Um, Album we're going to do today is Mobb Deep with Murder Music. This was
Yes.
released in 1999 on Loud, which is under Columbia Records. Singles albums known for are Quiet Storm, That and Remix. More on that later. It's Mine and USA I Am. Producers include Mobb Deep as executive producers, Jonathan Lighty Williams executive, Baby Chris executive, Buddha, Epitone, Havoc, Shamello, T Mix, and Alchemist. This was the first time Alchemist and Prodigy really worked together on the album. So,
Yeah.
um, the guest appearances, you got Big Noid, Chinky, Cormega, Lil C, 8 Ball, Raekwon, Infamous Mob, Coogee Rap, Nas, Lil Kim. Alright, so I mean, we already know how we got into Mobb Deep. I think we did a breakdown a while back ago and shit. So, Um, I talked about Juvenile Hell, which I felt like was a very underrated debut, if you ask me. Then we're going to get to the Infamous, which that's a hip hop classic.
Definitely.
Then 1 year later, they dropped the Hell on Earth album, which, in my opinion, that's like their best album, in my opinion.
Classic.
Not a bad track on the album. It's shit just fucking flawless. And so after Hell on Earth, um, they were still, going through the whole East Coast West Coast beef or stuff like that. Um, they were kind of going through some personal tragedies as well too. I think Prodigy lost a few people around this time too, and so did
Right.
Havoc. Um, Also, just to let y'all know, in case I didn't show y'all, read this book right here.
Yeah, I gotta check
In
it out.
my opinion, the best hip hop autobiography ever. In my
That's
opinion,
when he was signed with G Unit, right?
you saw what?
That's when he was signed with G Unit.
Um,
Cause,
yeah, but he was
'cause
in.
you know how I could tell because I noticed like when Mobb signed with G Unit, 50 he had bought both him and Havoc like Lamborghinis or something,
Yep,
and Havoc was not Havoc Prodigy was wearing more jewelry, and like
exactly. Yeah,
the jewelry on the cover he was wearing that during the G Unit era.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Which I'm gonna talk. I might talk about Blood Money one day and stuff like that. Cause
I need to get that book. Then we could do like a book discussion on that. That would be dope.
I'm down with that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So fast forward to like '97. They did a song with Rakim and Nord for the Hoodlum soundtrack. Like around like the late '90s, they were just doing some soundtrack collaborations, remixes. They did a remix to Mariah Carey's "The Roof" back in time, which ironically sampled the Shook Ones Part Two song. And so they were also getting ready for this album. But the year 1999 really was the beginning of the whole download era. Whereas just like Nas, I Am, this album got heavily bootlegged because it got pushed back a
right.
couple times because a lot of the tracks were leaked, so they had to record some new tracks for this album as well too. And also,
I had the bootleg for that.
this
Cause yeah, I had the bootleg for Murder Music, and it had Feel My Gap Blow, and there was some other songs on there. And then when I used to get like the Clue mixtapes, Clue. Well, we talk about that during the album, but they were like certain songs from the album that Clue was playing already on the mixtapes. So that's how I I had like the advanced copy, and then like there was some songs that wasn't on the retail version.
Yeah, damn, yeah, that's dead facts right there, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I heard some bootleg tracks of this album too.
right.
Loki Mobb Deep has some of the best hip hop unreleased tracks in my
Definitely, definitely.
like that ass. Not just from the Infamous days, but even from Hell on Earth, Juvenile Hell, Murder Music, Infamous. They has a lot of dope shit in the vault.
I remember I used to get the J Love the Mob Misses mixtapes
Yeah,
with the unreleased, and there was one song he had called Young Love or something, and they sampled the Prince I Want to Be a Lover. Was
yeah,
it
I
that
was a
joint?
girlfriend. Yeah,
That shit was fire. I was like, yo, that I could see why Prince didn't clear the sample, but that was a dope release joint.
yeah, but I heard a rumor. I heard I think from either Havoc that Prince played keys on one of their songs
Oh,
too.
yeah, I remember hearing that like on the Young Love joint. And they had an unreleased joint with R. Kelly that didn't come out, and I think there was another one with Little John, but they had like mad unreleases like over the years.
Little John,
Yeah, there was one
Humphrey,
on the J Love joint that I remember with Little. It was like I know the Little John is on the America's Nightmare joint, but there's another one that they did with Little John, if I'm not mistaken.
I forgot Little John and Monkey did some shit.
Yeah,
I
he's on
forgot.
the America's Nightmare album.
But yeah, so this album was supposed to have came out in early '99, but it did. It got pushed back to like August 17th, and this is the album cover right here. And this
Yo, Reg,
what
yo, I bought this album the same day as PD Forever.
as who? Oh damn!
I bought this album the same day as Speedy Forever and the Beatnuts Musical Massacre joint.
Wow,
I'm like, yo, never again will I buy that puppy joint.
God! And you get at me for buying China doll.
Well, I got China Doll from Columbia House though. I ain't paid the full price though. I was like, That was like what back in the day we like 12 CDs for a penny. So that was part of the Columbia I was doing. I just chucked that shit in the garbage. You know,
Well, this is their best selling album too,
right?
and shit like that. Oh shit.
You see Prodigy rocking that Fendi sweater, and have it got the iceberg joint.
Yep.
Fire.
Yeah, all that shit. Back in the days when you can get some of the artists' merch or some shit.
Right. They got like the advertising and shit for
Yeah.
HNIC
Which
and
that album is
Twin
coming.
Gambino Black Scarface joint. I don't even think that the Gambino joint ever came out, right? That Black
No,
Scarface joint.
no.
And you got like the Queensbridge, the picture of Queensbridge at nighttime in the background and shit. I actually been out there a couple times.
That's a dope ass pick right there.
Definitely actually been out. I was out there like in the summertime and in the wintertime. It's definitely what it looks like on TV.
For real, man. Like this whole album is gonna be some ill shit. All right. All right. This album has about 19 tracks, so let's get this shit started. Track number one is the intro. Um, Pretty sick intro right there. Just sets the whole tone of the album and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it was pretty solid.
Yeah, you got like Reagan, former President Ronald Reagan. Talking about shutting down the mob and you know ending their profits and crippling their organization. And Reagan was responsible for the crack era back in the '80s. So when you hear like artists like Pusha T talk about it or Raekwon, it's like that was a big thing. I remember, I used to come home from school, like taking the school bus home. I would come home from school and I would see like crack vials on the block, like not on my block, but on like the block before mine. And I would like, this is something that we discussed like in elementary school about crack and cocaine and stuff. So I knew at an early age what it was and what it looked like. And I would like take like the pick up the crack vials off the floor and be like it had like the yellow and red tops and be empty. I used to bring it home and show it to my grandmother, like, yo, like look at what we this is what we just talked about in school, like the empty crack vials and shit. And I never found any crack vials with the crack actually in it though. But they were always at that time in old New York. You could find drug paraphernalia anywhere. So Reagan was at the head of that, and that was like a different era at that time. So that's basically what you hear on the intro with Reagan talking about like ending the mob organization and profits and stuff like
For real. Even like Killer Mike be saying some shit about Reagan in his songs
that.
too.
Right.
Which I still need to listen to Run the Jewels for, because I heard that was a dope album and stuff.
I didn't hear that yet, but I like the Primo joint that they came out with.
Oh yeah, yeah, that shit was tough.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Then track number two, we got Streets Raised Me. This features Big Noid. One thing about this album that I
Mhm.
really noticed, and I was gonna say this for the next track, but I think I have to say right now. You can tell they were influenced a lot by Rough Riders.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because like even like some of the beats Havoc was making, it had like a Rough Riders feel with a Mobb Deep twist to it,
Right.
and I love it. Like the production is like so like like it reminds me of like playing the Def Jam Vendetta or
Right.
like Grand Theft Auto, man. It has that nighttime feel to it and shit like that.
True.
Like oh man, but I'm getting
Definitely.
really good for myself.
Yeah, Mob always had like that type of like mood music where you can like be in your whip and just driving like 12 a.m., 1 in the morning, and it just puts you in the zone. You could just be like smoking at the crib and blasting some Mob, and you could just zone out to their music. I love like timeless hip hop like that. A lot of the hip hop now you can't do that too.
It can, and I know a lot of people were even trying to like produce like Havoc around this
Hmm.
time too and stuff like that. Like really
Right.
influenced by the way Havoc was mixing his drums and
Right.
shit. But let me talk about Streets Raised Me.
Mhm.
Self-explanatory. Talking about the streets raised. Mobb Deep talking about street life and shit like that. Yeah, this was very dope track. Big Noid always comes correct around this time. I was just saying I gotta talk about episodes of Hustler one day and
That's
shit. He had this line where he said, "You keep it up and you will be dead like your homie. But I gotta redeem, get this cream by any means. I never been clean. Nigga, my whole clique got dirty. From the vials to the trials and the bloodies of sturdy. Nigga, you heard me, it's gangster into the block. Like, yeah, he definitely did sing on this one and shit. But I'll have to say the best verse goes to Prodigy when he said the sun looks beautiful over the projects. What a shame it ain't the same where we stand at. If you look close, you can see the bricks chipped off. Sometimes niggas miss when they lick off, don't get flipped off. Like, yeah, they all did their thing on this one right here. So very, very dope track.
definitely a great song to start the album off. After the intro, it's real melodic, and I like the pianos on there. The nice beat, the nice bass line. Chinky, who has always been like a part of the mob crew, and she's old. I think she's underrated when it comes to hooks. She has like a singing the chorus on this track, and I like Havoc's verse. He says, that's why I stick with my guns like I stick with the guns. Don't get mad, rip your hun, concentrate on my funds. And just a dope track about them growing up in Queensbridge and how the streets raised them. And I definitely think it's a solid track.
Yeah, very solid track. Um, Next track, What's Your Poison, featuring Cormega. Yeah, this was another dope track produced by Havoc right here. Um, to be honest, I'm not really the biggest Cormega fan, but at the same
Mm,
time, I felt like he stole the show with this one. And this was
yeah,
like a young Cormega too.
yeah,
And so, like, he had some line where he said, "Gun on my wrist in case I see son who wedded my man. I be Gore-Tex into death, rocket ice with special effects. It's obvious that I destined to rep. Yo, my persona is the drama, my infamous conglomerates." Like, he went in on that verse, and
mm,
again, like nice usage of the David Axelrod sample right there.
right.
Yeah, very very dope track, very sinister track right there.
I think Cormega is highly underrated. Like one of the like when we talking about like New York MCs, I think him and AZ is at the top of the list when it comes to underrated MCs. I always felt like that. I think Cormega, like a lot of the songs he's done with Mob in the past, like Killer's Theme, highly underrated. Love that song. Even this track, the joint he did on HNIC with Prodigy, 3, I think it's called 3.
Yeah,
That joint I actually heard on a bootleg and it was called Genesis. But when he was on the HNIC album, it was a different title. But I think a lot of his stuff he does with Mob all the time is definitely classic and trivial. I think he killed this collab. I like Prodigy's verse though. He says we used to roll oldies, now we stuff Dutches, being busted. What's the discussion? Y'all niggas talk a lot of shit. Heard you on the tape fronting. I faked nothing. You fuck around and push the wrong button. And I love the it's a real haunting melody, real dark track. Love the pianos on that, the beat, the bass line is knocking. Definitely a dope ass collab on here.
yeah, very very dope collab, man. Love this shit. Next track we got is a track called Spread Love. Now this is where I kind of felt like the whole Rough Riders influence happened, just the way them synthesized hits and the drum pattern and stuff like that. Again, another very dope track right here. Just talking about like spreading love with one another
Right.
and things of that nature. So yeah, very very dope track. Love it.
And like the when this track starts, you hear like a horn blowing, it's like a call to arms type of song. And then that beat comes in. I love that beat. Again, the bass line is one of the highlights of this track.
Yeah,
Dark melody, Havoc saying, never renege with my words. Believe what you heard, never flash a gat and don't bust it. That shit is absurd. Cause I'll be right back to my brother say word. You got to drop, no doubt. Caught being toughest for herbs. And definitely like Havoc's flow on this track and as well as like some other tracks on it. I think he definitely had a dope flow on it.
yeah, definitely. Speaking of Havoc, we got is Let a Hoe Be a Hoe.
Yes.
Oh man, this track is so fucking ill. um, yeah, this is a Havoc solo joint and shit like that. I kind of find it interesting that he mentioned Tupac, when he got accused of rape and stuff like that.
Right.
Found it kind of interesting when he mentioned that and stuff. which there's another controversial track that a lot of people kind of talk about too, which we'll get into. But yeah, this was a very dope track. The fuck another sense that's beat. Sometimes for a hoe want to be a hoe, you just gotta let them be. Sometimes, you know.
Right, basically.
Can't turn a hoe to a housewife. I'm sorry. I don't like to use the word hoe, but if she's trying to be a hoe, let her be a hoe.
Right. And Havoc, I think Havoc made it a point on certain like mob albums to like discuss this type of um situation, like with Infamous. He had the song, I think, was it Trife Life, where he talked about like going never trust a chick in the projects. When you go see her, she might
Yeah,
set you up. And on here, like, he had this song, and on Infamy he had Handcuffs, and it was like a freaky type of song, like just like this, reminded me of this song as well.
yeah,
And just basically like saying, like, messing with a chick, she's sexy as shit, but she bugged in the head. But I love the quotes. He says, because a hoe gonna be a hoe, and a nigga gonna be a nigga, no matter what the fuck you think. And love that chorus. And him saying, didn't want to hear it in the middle, cut her off like a little stove, smacked her on the ass, grabbed her by her drawers, but bugged in the head, but her looks turned me on with edible thorns. Plus I like the way she sounded when repeating my song. And then, like toward the end of the song, you hear like like you checking his voicemail messages, and you hear like his homies calling him up, Infamous Mob and Prodigy and them calling him up, listening to their messages. And then you hear like some chick like hitting him up, and she's like, "Oh," like she was talking like real freaky to him, like, "Oh, you choked me with your dick last night, and you tried to put it in my butt," and you know what I mean? I
yeah,
just thought it was she was like, "But I still love you anyway," and I thought it was a dope song. And definitely showcasing Havoc early potential as a solo artist, and I thought that was dope. So definitely a solid track.
yeah. Like very, very solid track indeed and stuff like that, man. Like, and niggas be sleeping on Havoc's rhyming and shit. I'm telling you.
Yeah, Havoc is though. I think he's slept on lyrically too.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Next track we got is "I'm Going Out" featuring Lil C. Very dope track, and I'm not like the biggest Lil C fan, but he had the best verse on this track, in my opinion. Like it's like the spirit of Biggie just possessed him with this one right here, in my opinion. This cat said, "Trust me, niggas don't want to see me let go. Niggas don't want to see the tech blow. Watch me move the crowd like techno music, nigga. When it comes to murder, you know we do it for the cause. Fuck relying on the law, ain't worth dying for. I'd rather die fucking raw or walking on a mine in the Cold War. Like, son of a bitch.
Yeah,
Very, very dope track right here.
definitely a standout collab. Always liked Little C. He was always like one of my favorites in Junior Mafia. After Big and Kim, and definitely like this track with the pianos and nice beat, nice bass line. The hi hats were kicking. I love Little C's flow on here. And he says, we do it well, clip niggas like nails, catch cases, skip bail. I lie before I tit out, dying to sit out, pop guns with the shit out, fuck a bitch till she gets out. Rap style smoother than CL. Giving a shout out to CL Smooth, definitely an underrated lyricist as well, and definitely a great collab. I love this joint, love the beat. Um, Definitely a solid track.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, man. It's like, you know, this album, the guest appearances on this album
Mhm.
were like coming correct.
Yes,
Like, there was not
definitely.
a bad guest appearance on this whole album. And I'm going to talk about a one particular one
Mhm.
much later. And
I know what you mean.
I think you know
Oh
who I'm
yeah,
talking about.
definitely. Definitely. That's a classic collab about Mob.
Oh my God. Oh, I gotta like they said, spread love on that track, right? I
Yeah,
gotta spread love, man.
definitely.
Um, Track number 8, Adrenaline. Man, Prodigy was just on a fucking.
Yes.
Well, I meant Illustrious.
Illustrious.
Yeah, excuse me. But yeah, Prodigy was at a lyrical peak with this album.
Yes.
It,
I agree.
like his performance on this whole album was stellar as fuck.
Definitely. One of his best.
And this whole in this verse, like he did the verse he did on this track right here was like a lot of quotables came from this shit. Like my spiral book hold the world's most lethal. There's no clue from what my pen do neither. Bring the fever. Y'all niggas is the rap justice. While he was gone for a moment, y'all kept the crowd going. Now, move over, bacon. Time for summon media. Whew. Your shit's weak. Your best song was mediocre.
Crazy.
Oh my god, this nigga writing meteor and mediocre. Like, come on. Come
Right.
fuck on. If Prodigy is not in your top 20 lyricists, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
For real. Definitely kill this track. I love the church organs on this song and the cowbells in the background. The the bass line, the haunted melody definitely had that signature mob sound. The chorus, because we illustrious, ashes to ashes and dust to dust. If you fuck with us, love that chorus. P killing it. He says, P holds a pen tightly, explode nightly. I count on one finger all your rap niggas that excite me. Your niggas is trash rap. Wanna fight me? Fire, fire joint. Just letting the rap game know that he's one of the best when it comes to the pen game, and rest in peace to him. Definitely lost a legend. And this is one of the early tracks that I heard before the album came out too. It was illustrious and joints like Murder Music and Adrenaline, but definitely one of the best tracks on here.
Yeah, man. Like, there's like other tracks where he just says some crazy shit,
Yes,
brother. So,
definitely.
now, this one's Adrenaline, another favorite track of mine and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Lyrically, it's definitely one of my favorites on this track, and both P and Havoc definitely did their thing on this track right here. Havoc again, showing that Rough Riders influence is
hmm
very noticeable on this track. So another dope track right here.
Definitely love the banging drums on this, the bass line, haunted melody. Pete, once again, he says, don't mean to rub it in, but your small time beneath our feet, straight ass cheeks, niggas be asking for ass whoopings. Guns kick like Pele. My big shit be jumping like Jordan. Often lay a man down on the floor when it gets like that. Fire joint. Another solid track with P as the headliner to me, in my opinion. Definitely killed it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Next track, Where You're From, featuring 8 Ball from 8 Ball and MJG. This was produced by Mo Suave. 1999 was really the year a lot of East Coast cats was really like collaborating with a lot of Southern cats. Like, ever since Jay collab with Juvenile on that Hot song, stuff,
hmm
the Hot remix, and
And Big Pimpin'.
Big Pimpin', Snoopy
Yeah.
track.
hmm
Seems like Jay put a lot of Southern niggas on
hmm
rap and shit too. So I noticed a lot of East Coast cats are now collaborating with Southern hip hop, but this one right here was one of the most unexpected. Like 8 Ball of 8 Ball and MJG, and again, man, 8 went. This is another where the guest appearance was like killing the 8 went in on this track, man. Like, fucking dope ass, dope song. Just going back and forth, 8 Ball going back and forth with P and Havoc and stuff like that.
Right.
Um, I love the line where he says, Southside waving my motherfucking soldier rag, a hard illustration of my Buddha lifestyle. Memphis 10 made a lot of niggas buck wild. They would do all evil daily. I chase it, blow it on weed and drink, then hustle to replace it. That's that hustler's mentality when she like
hmm
more
Right.
money coming in and stuff like that. You gotta, more money's coming in and shit, but you just don't give a fuck and stuff like that because you're
Right.
gonna fight.
Right.
And that's why I have respect for anybody that's hustling to this day and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. True. Yeah, definitely a dope collab, and 8 Ball underrated lyricist. I think his double album Lost is like highly slept on. Definitely was a great album. Um, I listened to a lot of 8 Ball and MJG like around this time too, like 99, 2000. Especially, and then when they went to Bad Boy, they didn't drop that good album. It was like a throwaway album, but definitely an underrated duo in the South. I like the track. It's real jazzy, real nice bass line. The scratches, the DJ scratching on there. The beat was dope. 8 Ball saying strapped with infrared raps when I hit the trap, crack the whack into pieces when I hit the track. Find the fire joint by 8 Ball. Definitely great. It was definitely a great to see. Mobb Deep collaborate with like a southern artist like 8 Ball, who's respected in the game. Definitely enjoyed this track. It had like a suave house type of feel to it as well.
Yes.
And definitely a solid track on.
Yeah, man. Very solid track. Next track, Quiet Storm, the original version. All right, so a little trivia about this one.
Mhm.
This one was originally supposed to have been for his HNIC album, which
Mhm.
he started working on around the time they were doing Murder Music.
Right.
But it actually ended up being in the Into Deep soundtrack and stuff like that too. And so originally it was like a Prodigy track, but at the same time, I think Havoc wanted to get on the chorus
Mhm.
and stuff like that. And so I'm gonna say what I have to say about the remix, but for the
Right.
original version, um, it's a fucking hip hop classic, man. Like
Definitely.
just that. I remember when I first heard this track when I was little.
Mhm.
Well, I heard the remix first, but still, like in general, I first heard it when I was little,
Right.
and it just really like the way P was just rapping on this was so focused.
Right.
Like top three, that's like one of his top three best lyrical performances in my opinion. Just like in the beat with them sampling the Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five,
Mhm.
that White Line
White
shit.
lines, yeah,
Oh my god.
classic. Hmm.
And then I think they, oh man, it's just a timeless joint.
Right.
Like the lines where he says, "Use a dick blower trying to speak the done language. What's the drilly with that though? It ain't banking. You hooked on my phonics, infamous bonics, lying to the pop dog like you got like, oh shit." Like one of my favorite tracks off this album. Like, and y'all have to hear what I have to say about the remix later on. So
Mm.
that's all I have to say.
Every time I play, I used to play White Lines. It always would like take me back to like when I was a little kid and growing up in Flatbush and being on like the subways at that time and at that time we had like all the trends were like with filled with graffiti and all that.
Yeah,
And I remember seeing that video. There's a video for White Lines too. If anybody never saw it, I remember seeing that
that
video
video,
and had like, huh?
that video is trippy as fuck.
Yeah, and it had like the little dancing uh 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 I don't know what the little dancing figures or whatever. And it always reminded me like of the 80s and living in that era at that time and having Mobb Deep sample it for like one of the best hits ever. Like that was just like a brilliant move. And when I remember seeing the video on Rap City for the first time, and when he had world premiered it, and I remember like seeing the video and having and seeing Prodigy in the white wife beater and the black do rag, and he was like sitting on the floor chilling while he got like all these armed men coming at him and explode. You have like explosions in the video and shit. I thought it was like a dope video. And I thought it was a solo track because I'm like I only heard Prodigy on it. I'm like, well, where's Havoc? And then you hear Havoc on the chorus. I'm like, oh, this is something different from Mobb. Them coming out with a new album, but you only hear Prodigy mainly on the song. And I thought he killed it. Definitely was great, and the remix was even better. But that was definitely one of his best like performances like ever, on a Mobb Deep album.
I definitely agree with that. 100%. Like classic. All right. Oh, one more thing.
Mhm.
Controversial opinion, but I've always preferred White Lines over the Message.
I love both of them. I think the message is more out there, is more familiar because of Puffy making it, putting it out there with the Can't Nobody joint, and
Not
it's
just
it's been Ice Cube sampled it for
yeah.
Check Yourself with Das Effects, and it's been used in movies and everything, the commercials. But I love both of those songs. Grandmaster Flash is a legend. So
Yeah. Like I will always love and respect the message, but
right,
White Lines, I just felt like that. And originally, a lot of people don't know it's not talking about staying away from cocaine. It's actually glorifying it.
right.
A lot of people don't know that shit. Yeah, man. Like, and I'm
Mhm.
doing my thesis. I'm doing something about Sylvia Robinson too and shit like that. And I was
Oh,
just like
that's
blown
dope.
away by that. So
Cool.
yeah. All right. So that's Quiet Storm. Track number 11. Where your heart at. one of my favorite Mobb Deep songs. Period. Like
Yeah.
sinister ass beat, man.
Hmm.
Havoc's probably the Havoc's best beat on this whole project.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, man. Like yeah, you remember that scene in Baby Boy when fucking
Mhm.
Jody and Sweet Pea talking about you got heart and stuff like
Right.
that. Like
Right.
you just gotta take shit in, pretty much. Motherfucker whooped his ass with a belt.
Word. Right.
He's like, I ain't gonna knock do you like you do. I ain't gonna whoop your ass. Ow, ow.
Hmm. Oh, that's when they had all the guys lined up, and
Yeah.
he was like talking to each other. Yeah, I remember that part.
Yo, Baby Boy is a classic.
Yeah, that was. I went to actually see that. That was a great movie.
He a killer like Henry was. First of all, what kind of killer named Henry in the first place? Like,
Okay. When you think, I mean, you if you look like Prodigy, real name is Albert Johnson. When you think of, when I look at Prodigy, he don't look like an Albert Johnson.
shit, he don't.
You know?
Shit. But yeah, man, Where Your Heart At is definitely one of my favorite tracks off this album and stuff like that. I loved Havoc's verse, especially when he said, "But I ain't crying no more about how you're gone. You used to hold me down. Niggas want this on. Ain't sweating going to jail. You better shoot me. Just lost my heart. If I die, you coming with me." Like
Right.
very dope track. I love this fucking
Definitely,
song.
definitely a real melodic track. Nice beat. Nice haunting melody, and P killed it again. He said, if I had drama with a nigga like such as myself, I couldn't even sleep at night till I made things right. Pull out guns, exchange a fight. Be the first to let off mines at night, ignite the pipes. Fire, fire, joint fire, fire verse fire by Prodigy. I didn't really like in like way back. I didn't really like this joint until like later on, and then it grew on me, and then I'm like, yo, I like it now. But
Mm.
definitely a solid track on here.
Yeah, very solid track indeed.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna get into the Noid interlude with just Big Noid, fuck like talking, rapping and stuff like that. I don't really have nothing to say about this. What about
Yeah,
you?
he was just like talking some shit. That's all.
Okay, cool. And then we're gonna get to Can't Fuck With featuring Raekwon.
Right.
Low key, I actually love this song. It's
Love this.
actually not a bad attempt at a club banger. It's actually better than some of the party tracks on the Mobilarity.
Right. Oh Lord. I love that album. I don't care. I'm going to discuss that album one day. I love that album from Recon.
Shit, I try to give the album two chances. I never, I didn't care.
Um,
It has some dope cut. I like Sneakers,
mm,
Walk in New York. Like I love
right.
those, but I don't know. The Cream Team just ruined it for me.
You know what it was? Because for me, I look at it like we were so accustomed to seeing RZA produce everything for them, and Raekwon stepped away from RZA and use unknown producers, and I thought he came out with a banging album. To me, I know he don't even like it because he mentioned it in that when he was ranking his albums, but I love it. I think I'm probably the only person that love that album.
No, the album does have a cult following these days,
Right?
but the Lex Diamond story, now that's another story. No pun
Yeah,
intended.
I didn't. I remember a couple songs, not the whole thing.
Nigga had an ice cream too. I'm just like, oh lord.
Oh Lord, no.
But
And
anyway,
he did Criminology too on the Wu Massacre album.
yo, Loki, I never heard Boom Massacre the whole
It
thing.
was decent. It was short. There was only like 10 tracks, but it was a decent album. It's not bad.
True. I might give that a chance.
Yeah,
There's a lot of albums surprisingly I never peeped and shit.
yeah,
But yeah, Can't Fuck With. Like I'm surprised this was not a single. I would rather have this as a single than It's Mine to give it a buck.
really?
I mean, I'm gonna save my thoughts on
Oh,
It's Mine. I'm gonna save my thoughts on that.
right,
But Loki, this could have been a dope club bang, and it's
yeah,
not no cheesy ass shit. It wasn't like no bad boy
right,
shit. It was just a Mobb Deep club banger, and you
true.
had Raekwon and
Hmm.
stuff like that too. Like
Right.
Mobb Deep and Wu always making some dope shit.
That's a collab album I would love to hear, like Mobb Deep and Wu.
I
Like
mean, Method Man.
any members of the Wu, but it got to be Ray and Ghost first. But if you include like any other members of the Wu with like, well, we can't do a Prodigy no more. But I would have loved to hear a Wu Tang Mobb Deep collab album. That would have been crazy.
Well, Method Man and Havoc are dropping a new album soon.
Right. But hopefully we get some more members on that. You know, maybe a posthumous verse from Prodigy on there. That would be dope.
Yeah, but Loki, man.
Mm.
I just hope the album comes correct because
Yeah, I hope so.
there's a lot of legends that in recent times that came out with albums together, and some of that should be trash in my opinion.
Exactly. They struggling to stay relevant. But I mean, to me, I already look at them as legends. I feel like they're trying to introduce themselves to the new generation when the new generation needs to go back and listen to their stuff.
Right. Like look at what's the motherfucker's name? Look at OC when he dropped
Mm.
the fucking Trophies album with Apollo Brown.
Love that. I
That
love that
shit
album.
is
Love
served
that album.
like, and I know he got a lot of new fans from that project too and stuff like that.
Mm.
Apollo Brown, he was just up and coming producer. He was just doing shit for Ghost and stuff like
Right.
that. And he worked with a legend like OC for
Yeah.
Trophies, my nigga. Come on,
That's a dope album. Oh, that I don't think there's a bad track on that album.
it's by facts. We gotta talk about that album
Yeah,
one day.
definitely.
Yeah, man. Because I'm already trying to do Word Life and Joel's sometimes this fall and shit. So I can't wait for those. But yeah, that's all I have to say about Can't Fuck With.
I love this, the real sinister haunting melody and the beat, the bass line was fire. P killed it. He says, I keep guns because it's like that. You figure it out. I got an arson for niggas trying to figure me out. You ain't a killer, you just talk hard, running your mouth. Type of nigga will stomp with blood and bloody out. Fire drink. Love that collab with, like you said, like Raekwon and Wu Tang with Mob anytime, even on the infamous album with Eye for an Eye, and they just killed it all the time, and definitely a classic collab. And
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'm trying to remember the other joint. It was Eye for an Eye, and what was the other joint on infamous?
Right back at you.
Right back at you, right, with Nas and crazy joint.
I'm trying to get the Hell on Earth vinyl one day
Right,
and stuff like that.
right.
Oh, don't forget Extortion. Oh,
Extortion with Method Man. Oh my god, that's one of my favorites. Yo, that melody that they had on, like Havoc had on it, crazy. Nighttime Vultures with Raekwon, crazy.
oh, yo, low
They
key.
they could have made like a album just with their collabs alone.
That's what I'm
If we
saying,
had
bro.
a whole album with Nighttime Vultures, Right Back at You, Eye for an Eye, Can't Fuck with, like, yo, it would have been a crazy EP album. Like that would have went multi-platinum.
Exactly. I'm telling you, man. But yo, Extortion, Prodigy, and Method Man going back and forth, man.
Meth killed it, definitely.
Oh,
That's like one of them like scary nighttime joints. Like you put that on for Halloween, that fits the whole mood of Halloween.
I'm surprised nobody used that for movies and shit like that.
I used to play, like, there's certain albums, like when we discussed on Temples of Boom last year. There's certain albums like Temples of Boom and Hell on Earth that Gravedigger 6 Feet Deep that I used to play on Halloween. You know what I'm saying? Because it just put me in that mood.
Facts.
Like you could watch like bump hip hop and watch scary movies on Halloween. That's what I used to do.
For real, man. That off topic, I'm gonna say this one more thing. One
Mm.
album I love listening to around Halloween,
Right.
fucking Nada is "Do You Believe in God?" Man,
Yes, that's a dope album. And I just got into them last year. That's a dope album, definitely.
say we almost
Mm-hmm.
got Detroit off, man. But yeah, man. So where we at right now? We at Thug Music with
That music, yeah.
Chinky. You said what?
No, go ahead.
Ah, yeah, this is a pretty solid track and stuff like that. I really got to re-listen to the Infamous Mobb's discography to keep it a buck with you.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I did feel that Ty and Twin Gambino definitely did that thing on this one right here. So
Yeah.
I fuck with this track.
I promoted for the Blood Thicker Than Water album for them, for Infamous Mob, for
Oh
that joint.
shit.
Yeah, I was on the street team for that joint. You know what I'm saying? That, but definitely they are slept on rap group. Definitely Big Twin, especially, like he's a great solo artist. I loved his last the album he did with what's the name of it? Was it the Phantom of the Opera or something like that? I forgot the name of
Yeah,
that joint, but
it's
it
something
might
like
have been, huh?
something like that.
Yeah, it was like about the last year or year before it dropped. That was a solid album. Like most of the stuff he's done with Alchemist has been solid. You know what I'm saying? And he dropped like a album with DJ Skiz. That was dope as well. But definitely a solid solo artist from Infamous Mob. This joint was definitely banging. I like the beat, the bass line, haunted melody. Chinky once again, we get on the chorus for that. Twin says, these promises full of menacing kids called the infamous, forgive but we never forget. All that fake snake shit, kid, I never regret. Cause I learned from mistakes that we guided my steps. And just a solid joint and with Mob and Infamous and the whole Queensbridge definitely was a dope collab.
Yeah, I definitely understand about that and stuff like that. Yeah, and then we're gonna you can't have thug music without murder music.
Right.
Again, another solid track right here. Just Prodigy and have just doing their thing on this track right here. Nothing really too much to say. I fuck with it.
Yo, I heard when I first heard this on the Clue mixtape, yo, I lost my mind. I think like this is one of the best Prodigy performances ever on any Mobb Deep album. I think he has like one of the best verses on here. I used to like recite the rhymes like all the time. I'm like I loved it that much. You know what I'm saying? Definitely fits the theme of the album, the whole tone of the album. It's real sinister, real dark track. I love the guitar strings on it. The beat is fire. The bass line. Prodigy saying take that bullshit back to the 2-inch reel, hit the studio hard, crash the trackboard like it's NASCAR. And maybe next time you can fuck with the God. P with a capital P. I don't ever in your life try to rock with me on no days. There's no what we said there's no rap page I can't top. I'm splash the half ass trash you drop, you get chopped in half. What do you say, your little wrath won't last long. My shit came out and you got escorted to the door. You just a clown out here to entertain us all. I've been to gravity done. You're gonna fall anytime y'all niggas wanna might brawl. Don't forget to me it's blood sport. Bring your dogs, bitch, nigga. Love that shit. Yo, that was one of my favorite Prodigy verses ever. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how great he was. Even in 1999, he was still in his prime. Still one of the best. Top 5, top 10 of all time. I love this song. I love that verse. Definitely killed it.
Yeah, man. Like P, man. It's fucking my Scorpio brother, man. I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
definitely.
as if this album cannot get that much better, we have The Realist featuring Cool G Rap. What
Oh,
the
yeah.
fuck? This is one of two of my favorite tracks off this album.
Yeah,
Alchemist, man. That doom 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 doom.
love that.
That bass line
Sinister
and
shit.
stuff like that. And Cool G Rap. This is probably Cool G Rap's best guest appearance next to MOP Stick to Your Guns.
Yeah,
And this got him a hip hop quotable from Source 2.
right.
I mean, like, oh man, I'm just in awe right now. Like this whole fucking verse from Cool G Rap, I think is
Fire.
just fire. So many metaphors like my fifth's an organ shifter, the human organism lifter. You'll be hearing organs if you're leaving orphans, if your
Mm.
next four hits your way, the Lord splits you. I mean, like,
Woo! Fire.
yo, and the story. I think the crazy story was that they didn't really expect Cool G Rap to appear on the beat and stuff like that, because around that time he was promoting for the Roots of Evil. He
Right.
was going for the Roots of Evil album, which is a very underrated album if you ask me.
Mm.
And he would always see Mobb Deep, and so around that time too, um, Alchemist was working on his beat while he was on tour with Cypress Hill,
Right.
stuff like that too. And so like Prodigy heard the beat and he fucked with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Fuji Rap fucked with it, and Havoc wasn't even there and stuff like that too. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a long story. I'm just paraphrasing it.
Yeah, I remember seeing an interview with I think it was Prodigy, and before he died, and he was talking about how this was the first beat that Alchemist submitted for the album,
Yeah.
and that's basically when they were hearing like the other joints from. That's basically how he came into the fold and started producing for Mob.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Like I'm just like I
I
said
see.
before, man. Next, this verse and MOP stick to your guns.
Mm-hmm.
G Rap's best guest appearances on any hip hop track.
Definitely. That's a classic album too. Foundation,
Firing Squad.
Firing Squad. My bad. Firing
Yeah,
Squad. Definitely a classic album, man. I love that MOP album.
yeah, man. Like this shit all the way to Warriors, I would say is a golden period. But if you ask
Yes,
me,
I agree.
To the Death and Firing Squad, those like my top two
Mhm.
favorites.
First
Like,
Family for Life. That was a solid album too.
ooh,
Love that joint.
how about some hardcore? Yeah, we like
Yes,
support. Oh,
yes. To
yo,
the Death.
I
Classic.
need, I need that fucking album, man. That To the
Yeah,
Death.
man.
They don't even have that shit on Spotify. I don't think so.
That shit is out of print like crazy.
Yeah, that album's too hard for Spotify, man. Fuck that
Yeah.
shit. Shit.
Definitely.
Then Firing Squad, man.
Hmm.
That was, Primo definitely stepped up his game with that shit right there. I'm
Yeah,
telling you.
for sure. I
Um,
always say like outside of the Gangstar albums, I feel like Primo's best stuff was like the Firing Squad album for MOP and Bahamadia Collage and Group Home, Living Proof, the first two J. Rule albums. I think that's what he was in the zone, man. I think that was like his best produced albums.
yeah, low key, Sunrises in the East is Primo's best production on any album.
Yes, I love that album.
Even better than Group Home. I'm
I,
sorry.
I, I think Jay will need to regroup with Primo because if I miss like the chemistry that him and Primo had for those first two albums. I think you need to get back with Primo and make another classic album.
I mean, I keep hearing they're going to get back together, but
Mm.
shit just never came out and
Right,
stuff.
right. You know, but definitely this a great collab with Cool G Rap, a legend. That Hall of Famer. I love his lines at the end. He says, G-Rap, Havoc, and Prodigy. Let's put these bitch niggas where bodies be done. Yo, if it gotta be, it gotta be fire. I love the chorus for Bootleg Liquor on this Sunday night. To be with the realest shit you heard in your life. Fire. Prodigy once again killed it. He said, some killers like to hide behind specs. Others get blatant and disrespect, and the rest are so young that you wouldn't even expect to be bursting off guns like a Vietnam vet on the steps, sitting on the staircase bent, thinking on ways to take another man's head. Go to war with niggas that's against what I rep. I solo things with a heavy metal fifth. Change clips, switch clothes after I spit. Place niggas back in this space. Fuck is on your mind, kid. Fire, fire. Another. This is probably like my favorite joint on the album. Like it's so many on this album that I can't choose. But if I had to, I would probably pick The Realist or Murder Music. But definitely, I wish they did a video for this because I could definitely see them like on a rooftop in Queensbridge, like at 1 in the morning, and like you see like the bridge all lit up and the city all lit up, and it definitely would have been like a dope video. But definitely a classic collab with legendary Cool G Rap, man. I love this.
Yeah, I love this shit too. Classic.
Yes, rest in
Um,
peace, Prodigy.
yeah, next track, USA. I then. Um, Low key, this is actually my least favorite song off this album, but it's not a bad track indeed.
Mm,
It's like an eyes. Like I said, I really wish they could have put like "Can't Fuck With" as a
right.
single and shit like that, but I didn't really care for the song too much.
I like it. I don't want to say it's a club joint, but it had like it was danceable. Like for the thugs, like that didn't want to like dance. They were like, you be at the club or you nodding your head with a drink in your hand. Had that type of vibe. Real nice beat, real haunting melody. The pianos, very nice touch. Havoc saying, old fool from the old school. Be 36. I've been doing this since niggas been selling nicks. Fire joint. I thought it was dope. I think it's a solid track. You could tell they were going for like that little radio play, but it's still cool enough to play on the radio, but it was still like street. And I loved it. I love that about Mob because they always had that balance with street and getting their stuff being played on the radio or in the club or whatever.
Yeah, fact. I see what you're saying. Next track is Mine featuring Nas. Very controversial track by a lot of people.
Um,
And the reason why it was controversial because in the chorus they're talking about what y'all want, thug life is mine.
mm,
And a lot of fans they saw it as like a diss to Tupac and stuff
right,
like that. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Like even though like there's all this recent coverage of like the whole Nas and Tupac showdown and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like it was a very solid track and like a nice little party-ish kind of track and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like people probably read too much into it, but who knows?
Right.
Whatever.
I used to think that too, like that part in the chorus where he said "Thug Life is mine." I used to think that I'm like, because we associate Thug Life with Tupac. He had it tatted on across his chest, so um, I didn't really think too much about it. I was like, well, are they saluting Pac or is it a diss to Pac? But I thought it's a great track, another great collab with Nas, and we heard Nas on the Infamous on that classic track, and then we heard Nas on. And I thought this was another classic track. It was great to see a video for this with Hype Williams, the legendary director that casted Nas and Belly, and he did the video, and they're like out in the island somewhere, and you got like a whole bunch of half naked chicks at this beach house with them, and this is like Nostradamus Nas. This is like Nas Escobar Nostradamus Nas at this point. And I think he killed it. He said silk shirts and cheddar flirt. Holly Berry blew a kiss at the Barbra Streisand concert. Then at the end of the verse, he says, cremate your flesh to ashes. You don't need a suit, no rope, no wake, no funeral, and no casket. Fire, fire joint. I love this joint. Whole Scarface vibe, with the song, with the melody and the beat, and just a dope track, and definitely a classic collab in my opinion.
Yeah, I see what you're saying with that. Definitely. And this was actually the last collab that they've done together before their beef and stuff like that too. So,
They he did do another collab after. I want to say that was around the Black Cocaine EP that they dropped.
oh, for real?
Yeah, that was what's the name of that? Is it Dog Shit? I forgot the name of the joint, but he did do another collab with them. But right around the time that they dropped the Black Cocaine EP, that's like an underrated project from them. They dropped the Black Cocaine EP. I want to say like 2011, 2012, and he did a joint with them, and I think he did another joint with them called Waterboard. I'm not sure, but y'all could look that up. But he did do another joint or two with them after that whole little beef they had though.
Facts.
Yeah.
And the last track, Quiet Storm Remix, featuring Lil Kim. This is again tied with the realness as my favorite track off this album. And in my opinion, it's like my personal favorite remix in hip hop history.
Yeah.
Yep, even way better than Flavor in Your Ear remix. Way better
I
than
don't know
Touch.
about that. I don't know about that. Because big made Flavor in your remix what it is now. Let's
I
be
mean,
honest
yeah,
about that.
yeah, that's my second favorite. That's
You
my second
niggas is
favorite.
mad. Yo, let's be clear about that. You know what I'm saying?
For real. But
The
low key,
legendary shit alone, people still quoting what he said. Don't be mad. UPS is hiring. Come on.
niggas sleep on Busta's verse too.
Buster was I, but I mean, Big made that remix a classic. Not like
Okay.
everybody did. Rampage did this thing. LL was cool. Buster was cool. I just feel like
LL
Big
was
stole the show. Huh?
LL. I had mixed feelings on LL's verse, in my
That
opinion.
was that was Mr. Smith L. He was still in the Mr. Smith mode.
Like
You
he
know?
she
Yeah.
flirtatious,
Blow kisses.
TV,
Delicious.
delicious. Like, oh,
Give me goose, love me good. What the hell was LL saying on that remix? I don't know nothing he was saying. He was trying to be like too different with the lingo.
I'm just like his jeans. Oh, flavor like pretty Lynn, sick daddy. You know what I mean? Papa
Papa
love
love it when he does it.
when he does it.
What are you saying, L? What is that?
I love L. I love L, but still no. But as much shit as I give that verse, it's still
Mm,
memorable in its own way.
right, definitely. I love the video. Like, no, you had like little Justin Dior Combs in it when he was a baby
Yeah.
with his Pampers on, and Puffy with the doing the little Warriors thing with the bottles and shit. And
Bad.
I love that. I love that video. That's a classic. That's when videos meant something. Like videos played a part in the success of your album back then. They don't. It's not the same no more.
Yo, you had fucking Irv Gotti in the video. I bet
Right.
you years later, Irv gonna be like, I was the one who told Puff to put those bottles together and stuff. Irv always trying to take credit for something.
Exactly. For something he ain't got shit to do with. Just like Dame. Dame do the same thing. You see Dame like his famous rants. He always take credit for shit he ain't got nothing to do with.
Oh man.
You know, oh, I was the one that signed Currency, and y'all would know Currency wasn't for me. Like, come on,
Yeah, didn't Currency wasn't he on Def Jam at one point?
Currency. From my understanding, he was with Young Money first,
Oh, okay.
and then he left, and Dame had some type of I don't know where Dame comes in with in Currency's career. He was like when I started listening to Currency, I heard about Dame. Like I think he had signed him or you discovered him or something like that. But he never came out on Def Jam. He never came up with no album on Def Jam.
Oh, that
Um,
was Corpay I'm thinking about. Oops.
oh okay. But Dame had some type of involvement with Currency's career. Like when he came out with Politalk One, that's when I started listening to Currency, and then like I think Currency is slept on even now. Like he's still dropping consistent stuff.
Shit.
You know. But Biggie made Flavor in Your Ear what it is. Like he was the table setter. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Ain't too, like this, but we had great remixes in the '90s. But that was one of those remixes. It was great because of Big. I don't think if Big was on it, it would have been a classic remix.
True, true.
You know
I
what I
feel
mean?
that. And yeah, I'm gonna say this in one other remix. I love
Mm,
Biggie's verse, the Super Cat Dolly My Baby remix.
love that joint. Definitely killed it because Puffy couldn't rap back then, and he was on that joint. You
Yeah.
had Jesse Thought Out West, but he was more known for his production than a rapper in my opinion. But I
Puffy
definitely
doesn't
think
sound like
Big.
a fingers.
Yeah, I definitely think Big killed that Super Cat remix. So I mean, Mary, you had Mary J, young Mary J, on the chorus for that as well.
For real, man. This
You
nigga
know,
said, I love it when they call me Big Pop. The show stop.
fire,
But I'm
fire,
like,
and he's in the video too with
for
the
real.
bandana and the leather hockey jersey, and that was the style back then.
Bro, that was back when niggas had bandanas all the way close to the eyes and shit like that.
Yes, definitely. That's how I'm rocking mine now. I had to do that. You know what I mean?
Alright, but like I said, I might do a video on the remixes one day. But back to
Yeah,
the Quiet
that'll
Storm,
be fun. That'll be fun.
hell yeah. Back to the
Definitely.
Quiet Storm remix.
Hmm.
This is like one of my favorite hip hop tracks of all time. I mean, you had Havoc starting off. He did his thing, but then you had fucking Queen B
Fire.
back in her prime. In my opinion, the last firework in her golden age, if you ask me. Her motherfucking best verse, and I don't think no one wrote this verse.
Mm,
I don't. Y'all can quote me, but I
that's
didn't hear
crazy.
no ghostwriters on this verse. And she was going after Charlie Baltimore on this whole fucking verse.
Wow.
Even
I didn't know.
though, yeah, even though many people thought she was going after Foxy,
I
because
see.
Foxy was part
Right.
of the Bang Bang track on the Capone
Hmm.
Jigger.
Right.
Oh man. But yeah, because like Charlie Baltimore was known not only for sleeping with Biggie,
And
but
Jay Z.
oh, she said with Jay Z too.
Well, I know she was part of the commission with Jay and Big.
I was like, oh, I won't be surprised.
Yeah. I mean, at this point,
Chigga.
yeah.
She fucking I love how Kim started the verse, paying homage to the fucking MC Light track.
Right.
And then she said a line, I'm a leader, y'all on some following shit, coming in this thing on some modeling
Let me
shit.
see.
Bitches suck cock just to get to the top. I put 100% in every line I drop.
Fire.
See, low key, I kind of compare this verse to Nicki Minaj when she did the Make Love verse on Gucci Man, and everyone thought she was talking about Remy when she
Right.
was mostly talking about Azalea Banks and shit. Then Remy responded, and that turned out to be the whole Remy versus Nicki beef and shit.
Right.
Yeah, man. And Loki, as much shit as I give Nicki, that's like her best verse, but that's another story for a different day.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, then Prodigy ended off with again, like the way Prodigy always does it, in my opinion, man. Like
Hmm.
this is just a classic song. I love the video. Hype Williams, man. Fucking another icon I should be discussing on this channel one day. Like
Yep.
had the whole visuals and the club and stuff like that. Like man, Hype Williams, whenever he does a music video in like a party or a club, man,
Hmm.
everyone be there and shit like that. Like this is a classic remix, in my opinion, the best remix in hip hop history.
Can't argue with that. Definitely. Little Kim on this remix is definitely took it up a notch. Hot damn ho, here we go again. Love that. Love the way she started that off, and you see her in the video on top of the table in the club with her bandana on, her Yankee fitted on over the bandana and tilted, and she definitely killed it. Definitely one of her best collabs ever. You have a Prodigy says, yo, I can never get enough of it. Yo, that's my shit. I need that shit to boost my adrenaline. Yo, rock that. I love that shit, man. Like fire remix. Just when you thought it could never get any better with just Prodigy on the original joint, and then you add Little Kim in the mix, and then you got the Hype Williams video back when they were actually doing remix videos for the remixes, and definitely took it up a notch. A classic collab. And if anybody feels like it's the best remix ever, I have no problems with that because I do feel like it's a classic remix, and it was more. I think it was impactful to the success of this album, like having Kim on the track, and it was definitely a great track. Definitely solid.
Yeah, man, I definitely agree with you on that. And that's everything for this album and stuff like that.
Man,
Overall, this is my third favorite Mobb Deep album. I'm gonna turn my camera on right here. Yeah, this is my third favorite Mobb Deep album right here.
hmm
And like I said, the album was heavily bootleg, so there's like a lot of dope bootlegs on this album too.
yes,
The production, they feel like, after 3 years after Hell on Earth, a lot of hip hop acts usually fall off around the fourth album or try so hard to fit in with everybody, but I felt like they still did their thing with this project right here.
definitely.
But for some reason, it does not get talked about a lot, and I don't
It
know.
does.
And I feel like 1999, that was like when the South was really
Man,
making noise and shit.
hmm
And Rough Riders was really doing their thing. It's like when I was talking about the Wu Tang Forever one day, I was talking about everything in hip hop was happening all at once,
right.
and then the West Coast was like kind of like going through like a downward spiral, after the whole Pac died and Death Row going
Yes,
on. But yeah, this album is highly recommended, most definitely.
hmm
Um, HNIC is definitely coming
yes,
next month,
definitely.
but I'm gonna give this 5 mics.
Five
Yeah,
mic album.
yes,
No skippable tracks. Production was flawless by Havoc, and you got the debut of Alchemist working with the Mob, and you saw how he blew up, the collabs with Kim on the Christ on remix, a great classic remix ever. You have Eight Ball, you got Raekwon, and Cormega and Little C's, great collabs, and I don't feel like the collabs overshined, the group. You know what I'm saying? But they were solid. And the verses on Prodigy. Prodigy was in the zone. He was in his prime on this album. My favorite joints like Murda Muzik and the Quiet Storm remix, the regular version, Can't Fuck With, Where's Your Heart At, um uh Thug Music, just a classic album from beginning to end. If you're a Mobb Deep fan, you must have this in your collection. You must. Yo, I've played this. I still bump this album. Like the anniversary was a couple days ago. I still bump this album. Definitely one of my favorites. Infamous, Hell on Earth, and Murder Music are my favorites. I think all three of those are classics. After Juvenile Hell, when you get to like Infamy and those other albums, it gets kind of shaky. But definitely the three albums after Juvenile Hell are classic. I will definitely put them in my top five of all time when it comes to like group albums. Mobb Deep is definitely a top five group to me, and definitely a five mic album classic.
yeah, 5 mic album indeed and shit like that. Yeah, I'm gonna stay on for an additional 10 minutes because I'm on this whole restriction and stuff
Right.
like that.
What's wrong? You seem y'all was tripping, man.
I'm telling you, man. Now they want to strip on me about 20 hours. Okay,
Crazy.
but yeah, I didn't forget about the Motown album or when the
Yeah.
schedule because I've been so busy with this fucking exam and shit.
What did Christian said? What is your favorite and least favorite Hype Williams music video? Least
Oh
favorite? I
man,
don't even know because he was dropping everything was fire from him at that point.
yeah, I don't think there's a bad Hype Williams video.
Yeah.
So even some of
Favorite
the
Mike
artists I don't
Williams. No, well, the Quiet Storm remix video, that was one of my favorites. The Isman video, that was one of my favorites. See, he has a lot, man. You know, the stuff he did with Puffy and Bad Boy.
yeah, man, I'm gonna go with just on top of my head, pretty much any Biggie video like Big Papa, One More Chance remix,
Right.
MLP, How About Some Hardcore, um, Naughty by Nature, Craziest, Guru and
Yeah.
Chaka Khan, Watch What You Say, Busta Rhymes and Touch It remix,
Yeah.
R. Kelly, Feeling. Wait, did he do Feeling on My Booty? Nah, he didn't do Feeling on My Booty. Nah, never mind.
Right.
I want to say Old Dirty Bastard, Shimmy Shimmy Ya.
Right.
I always like his grimier videos more.
Mhm.
Oh, Wu Tang, the can it all be so simple? Oh my
Right. Yeah, that's a great
god,
one. That's a great one.
that was like his first really cinematic video because it's crazy because for all those other Wu videos like Cream and Protect Your Neck, you can tell the griminess and all, but with this video, it was all crystal clear
Right.
and stuff like that. I mean, he's somebody I look up to because I was thinking about directing my own music videos in the future, but I
Yeah.
had a few personal issues I have to overcome first and stuff like that
Right.
before I got on that.
Q asks, what do you think about posthumous albums?
I never really cared too much for posthumous albums unless if the artist actually worked on the album and it was released posthumously,
Right.
like Michael Jackson with The Escape, or even like with what's the album? Like even with Biggie Life After Death, you know, he was
Right.
fully worked on it and he finished it, but it was posthumously. But
Right.
anything from Tupac or what they doing with like Jimi Hendrix, like just throwing random tracks together and remixing them, I'm not down for whatsoever.
I agree. Like unless they were working on it, like while they were, while the tragedy happened, like Pun was working on Yeah Baby. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like unless they were working on those albums, you know what I'm saying? Like it's different because then it's like what they were planning on doing. But if you just like if they just put together a whole album after that artist died, you don't really know. Like I feel like a lot of the artists that Puffy got for like the duets album and stuff, we don't know if Biggie was gonna ever do shit with Nelly.
oh
You know
my
what I'm saying?
god.
Like we don't know if he was gonna ever do shit with like Jagged Edge. You know what I mean? So it was like it doesn't feel real. It feels cheap. It feels like it's
And
been cheated out of that artist vision to me.
Loki, I have to say this: the posthumous albums that he did for Born Again and Duet, it's like he reused the same verses.
Exactly.
It mixed it up with it. That's
That
what really pissed me
that
off.
that's why I didn't like Born Again because it was like a lot of those songs you hear the same verses from Life After Death. I'm like, well, what the hell? We already got Life After Death. I don't need Born Again. Let me chuck that away. You know what I'm saying?
The only reason I would take Born Again over Duet is for Dead Wrong and Rap Phenomenon. That's the
Right.
only reason.
And even with Dead Wrong, you can find that on the Eminem. That's on the Eminem curtain call greatest hits because I got that.
Yeah, I got that too.
Yeah, so you don't even need Born Again. If you just love that one track, you could get the Eminem joint or the single. You know what I mean?
Right. Or and Biggie was only like active for like 5 years in his whole career, so he does
Right.
not have a lot of
And
recent.
right, and he accomplished so much with just 2 albums. It's
Yeah,
crazy. Like because you have artists out there that's been in the game for 20 something years. They don't even got a platinum record to their name.
like I never hear no unreleased shit with Junior Mafia
Right.
or
And I'm
stuff
sure
like
they
that.
have it. I'm sure they have it.
Right.
They gotta have it. Because back then, a lot of when artists did albums, they recorded a lot of music and then they cut it down to like a certain track list. Like when Snoop did Doggy Style, I heard he did like 40 tracks, and they cut it down to like what, like 19, 18.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So those other unreleased tracks from Doggy Style are still unreleased.
Yeah, man. See, even like Sam, the big picture. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a dope posthumous album.
Yes,
But like I said, they kind of threw in some freestyles.
right. And some B sides. I was telling somebody, I'm like, it's not a full Big L album.
Yeah,
He didn't finish it when he got killed. You
yeah,
know what I'm
man.
saying? That Stretch and Bob Beto freestyle that's on there. I recorded that show that same night that he had Jay-Z on there with them. I remember that. I had that on a blank tape.
That's a legendary
That's
freestyle.
not a new freestyle. You know what I'm saying? They just threw that on there. You know what I'm saying? The joint he did, the enemy with Fat Joe, that's on the DITC album. I have that album.
Exactly.
It's not a real album. He died with one album. That's the one true album that he had. He don't have two albums.
And one thing, the whole Big L, Tupac, and Deadly combination shit. I'm sorry. I just have this thing when certain producers I can throw in a Tupac verse
Right.
with the rapper is I just have a certain ill.
Let me ask you this though, because recently there's I've seen a topic come up when it comes to Nas top 5 albums, and people are throwing in King's Disease in there. And they always mention Lost Tapes. In your opinion, is Lost Tapes a full album? Because to me, it's a compilation of unreleased songs. I don't even count it as a real Nas album. But people seem to throw that in there when it comes to Nas best Nas albums of all time.
Okay, so here's my thing. Is it a good album? Yes. Is it
Yes.
a good compilation? Yes.
Mhm.
But it's not the studio album.
Right. That's why I don't count it. I don't count it as a Nas album. It's just a compilation of unreleased songs.
Like, I, but here's the difference. Like when
Mhm.
we did Michael Jackson, the History, I can count that as an album.
Right.
Second, this is full of new songs.
Greatest hits. Right.
With the Prince, the hits, and the B sides,
Mhm.
I can't count that because those are B
Right.
sides, which most people have heard before.
And I never hear when it comes to Prince albums, I never hear nobody throwing the hits and the B sides in there. It's a compilation. It's
That's
not a
that,
real album. That Lost Tapes is a compilation. It's not a real album.
and the way Prince did that shit was smart. Like
Right.
he sold the hits and the hits two separately. And when he
Exactly.
said you get the B side, you have to get the whole three.
Exactly.
That's
Yep.
smart as fuck.
Yep. For
See,
real.
and so with the lost tapes, yeah, a lot of cats might not have heard those songs before,
Mhm.
but it's not a full new material from Nas, which a
That's
lot of
what I
people
say.
don't understand that.
So that's why when I do, if it comes to like top 5 Nas albums, I don't include Lost Tapes because it's not a real Nas album.
I just list that
I
as
put I Am and Gods in India because those are solid and people sleep on that, but they want to throw in King's Disease and I don't get that.
hell. I'm gonna go to my rock music with the Rolling Stones with
Mhm.
Tattoo. Yes, a lot of those songs was recorded in the 70s, but that was released in 81. But
Right.
they reworked those songs in 81. So
Hmm.
technically, it's still new material
Right.
because a lot of people not have never heard those songs. So they did it smart too. They did it
Right.
smart too.
And the Beatles, they have like albums with unreleased stuff. Nobody count them as like, oh well, I'm gonna put this album with Abbey Road and with Sergeant Pepper and all that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's like I don't count the Lost Tapes. Lost Tapes is a great compilation. I don't count it as a real Nas album because it's all unreleased shit from I Am and Nostradamus.
Same, yeah. Even with
It
the
just it
Honest
just came out
Brothers,
in the 2000s.
right? Q asked, "What was the worst and best Tupac
You
posthumous
asked
album?"
this before. I said the best one was y'all don't be remembering what you be asking us. I remember everything. The best one to me was Remember Me. Are you still down? And that's it. The other ones, well, Better Days had some unreleased stuff, but it wasn't great. But all the other stuff like Loyal to the Game, I don't care for those. But remember, Are You Still Down? Remember Me. That's like his best posthumous album. And the Outlaws joint, Still I Rise. I love that album.
Yeah, like, and even with Tupac, even the original unreleased Me Against the World and stuff like that, I would throw
Right.
in some of his best albums.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's not been touched.
Hmm.
That should have the original My Block in it. Come on,
Hmm.
man. Like,
Yep. And the title track was longer. Like there was more singing from the female on there.
yeah, even the Volume Two of the Thug Life album,
Yeah.
niggas don't know about that. But
Right.
actually,
Right.
I won't really put that for Tupac albums. I consider that more Thug Life, but still,
Ronnie said, "What's your think about Blood Money?" I like the Blood Money album, but it was too much 50 Cent involved in it. It was too much G Unit influence. But there's like joints like Creep and Pearly Gates and I love what's the infamous joint. There's some bangers on there. I like the collaborations they did with Banks and with Young Buck and Yayo, but it was too much of a G Unit sound. And Mob have their own movement. They can't be signed to a label like G Unit and it's too much influenced by 50. Because then it becomes like a 50 Cent album and not like a true Mob album. But I thought it was a dope album.
yeah, man. I never really cared for Blood.
Yeah,
anything after infamy
yeah,
besides
yeah. It gets shaky.
yeah.
I agree.
Huh.
Nas and Ill Will QB Finest was definitely, but that's an album. Even though that's like an album with various artists, but
Yeah.
that's still a full album. It wasn't like no unreleased joints on it, except for like I think Find Your Wealth. They said he had recorded during the I Am Nostradamus sessions that he put on QB Finest. But that's a definitely I want to discuss that one day. That's a definite underrated compilation album, but that's still a full album. It wasn't like a whole bunch of old joints on there. It's just that with Lost Tapes, people forget that drunk by myself and Blazer 50 and You Gotta Love It. Those joints were recorded for I Am Nostradamus, the planned double album that never came out. I had the bootleg tape for those joints. You know what I'm saying? But he put it out during the 2000s, and it became like it blew up bigger than probably what they even thought it was gonna expect. But I don't count that as a full Nas album. That's a compilation of unreleased songs. When it comes to top five, we talking about top five Nas albums. I'm putting the regular albums. Illmatic, It Was Written, I Am, Godson, Stillmatic. Those are my favorite Nas albums. But I don't count Lost Tapes as a full Nas album.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people putting that, like they putting that. I'm like, that's not a full Nas album. I mean, his discography is not that bad for y'all to be like, oh, but let me put the compilation album because his discography is shitty. I disagree.
See, this what happened when niggas watch too much DJ Vlad and shit. That's all I
Yeah,
got.
exactly. That whole thing about Nas being a bad beat picker, I never heard nobody say that until I watched that Vlad interview. Nobody was saying that back in the '90s about Nas. Even if like every artist will have a bad album, but I never looked at Nas like, oh, well, he's a bad beat picker because he picked this or he used the same sample with Thieves theme that he did with the Will I Am track. I don't look at Nas as a bad beat picker. I just feel like he gonna have some bad albums, just like Jay-Z has some bad albums, just like 50 Cent has some bad albums, or T.I., whoever. That is what it is. Everybody's not gonna have a flawless discography.
Right, right.
Unless you're big where you didn't live. I mean, who to say that if Big wasn't living now, that he would have had everything in his discography would have been flawless? He might have had some bad albums too. It's just that his life was cut short, unfortunately, and he left us with two classic albums. But I don't think any artist, no matter what genre, has a flawless discography. I think they pop music, reggae, rock. You're gonna have artists and bands that have bad albums, and that's just how I look at Nas. I don't know that whole thing picked up when Vlad started saying that stuff, and you had Lord Jamar chiming in. And I'm like, come on, like Van Nubian's discography ain't flawless. They got best some shitty albums too. So Lord Jamar can't even talk. They got some bad, and I'm a brand Nubian fan. I love their first album, One for All, classic album. And God We Trust was classic, but after that, like everything is everything. I know people love that. I didn't care for that album.
Whoa.
I like some
Whoa.
songs. I don't think it was a classic album. Like I heard people say, I know you love that album. Once again, I don't shit on Reggie's opinion because that's his opinion. I just didn't care for it. I don't think it stands up to the first two albums, but they don't have a flawless discography either. You know what I'm
No.
saying? So it's like, Tribe Called Quest, one of my favorite groups of all time. We know Love Movement wasn't no classic album. That's a
Hell
shitty
no.
album. Very shitty album. It was too much Q-Tip solo joints on here. This discography minus that one album is still not flawless. And everything else before that was classic. But that's just how I look at artists. Like everybody will have a bad album. Eminem have a few bad albums, and I still put them in my top five all
I
time.
think a
But
few is a kind word on this statement about Eminem.
he have when I
Few
mean a few,
albums.
he has like three or four. That's what I mean. Like Relapse was solid. Encore was shit. I gave Encore two when we did the review. Terrible album. Even though I have it, I don't play it. Terrible album. That was the first one. After Relapse, I like Recovery. A lot of people don't like Recovery. I let Recovery slide, and I thought it was a dope album. But then when you get to the sequel of Marshall Mathers LP two, I don't like that. It wasn't. There's still some songs I could hear, but it wasn't a great sequel. Revival trash, Kamikaze trash, and he have a couple bad albums. Like he don't have no flawed discography, but he's still, to me, I still put him in my top five, top 10 of all time as a lyricist, and what he's done as a Caucasian MC in the genre that we started. You know what I'm saying? But you don't have no flawed discography now. You know what I'm saying? Every artist will have bad albums. Michael Jackson had a bad album too. You know what I mean?
What's y'all?
Invincible to me wasn't great. Some people love it. Some people don't like it.
Oh
Even though
man.
it sold a million copies.
Oh
But
yeah.
for Michael Jackson standards, it's not. It's not Thriller. It's not Off the Wall. It's not bad, and it's definitely not the underrated album for discography. Dangerous, but that's just me. But people love it. If people love Invincible, that's great. I'm not gonna bash them because they love that. But again, I feel like Madonna got a ton of shitty
Oh,
albums in the 2000s. After
Madonna
Music was like the
had
last album that she really got Grammys for. After Music, she have a ton of shitty albums in the 2000s.
American Life.
Exactly. American Hard Candy, I bought the first day it came out. I liked that album, but it didn't do well. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people didn't like the
Save the world.
a lot of people didn't like the production from the Neptunes and Timberland, but I like that album, but it ain't no legendary album compared to Like a Virgin or Ray of Light. You know what I'm saying? Or True Blue. I think True Blue is highly underrated as well. But let's understand that every artist will have bad albums. That's just how I looked at Nas. Nas has some bad albums. I never said that Nas, is a bad beat picker. That's something that unfortunately it grew into what it's become now because of DJ Vlad. But I never felt like that for Nas.
I'm gonna say a few more things. Low key, in my opinion, Brand Nubian, the Time's Running Out album,
Right.
classic in my opinion.
That was what was that? The Foundation album?
That's the original Foundation.
The original. Okay.
It was
Yeah,
their
I know they had like they went in and redid some stuff.
fucking Clive Davis bitch ass.
History. Yo, Cruz, we did me, Reg, and Ashley did a history review like last June on Reg's channel. So look for that. That we talked about that album. I think that was a dope album. Like again, I don't feel like it was a classic compared to Michael's other stuff, but I think it came out at the wrong time because of the whole child molestation case and everything. Yeah, he came out at the wrong time with it. If he had waited till like '96, I think it would have been a lot bigger album. But it still went like what, like 8 million, 6 million or something like that. It still did numbers because that's how powerful Michael was. Like Jay-Z could drop an album tomorrow and it'll go triple platinum because of who Jay-Z is at this point. It could still be a shitty album.
Yeah, man. Michael came out with that this time around.
I love that joint.
Yo,
Biggie was on that. He had Boyz II Men on there. He had Shaq of all people on there.
that Shaq sounded dope.
The Too Bad joint. That was a dope album. I like some joints on it.
Yeah, man.
You know.
What else? Hell, I'm sorry. Janet has some shitty albums too.
Exactly. I love Janet. I love Janet. She's probably like one of my favorites next to like Mariah and Mary. But Janet had some shitty albums. The Discipline album, y'all ever heard that? That was shit.
The first two albums.
The first two albums, not even the Control. The first two albums was shit, and I went back to listen to those. That was shit. It wasn't good. And Janet wasn't even at that. She wasn't even. She was still Penny at that point.
21. No, she was Charlene at that point.
Charlene.
20 YO. Shit.
20 YO. I don't even remember that album. That's how bad. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, her last great album was the All For You album. I love that album.
But hold on, wait a minute. Demeter Joe and Unbreakable.
Like Demeter Joe. I know Ashley loved it. I don't remember Demeter Joe. I gotta listen to that again.
R&B Junkie, I Want You.
But that when I heard that Discipline, I'm like, yo, this shit is bad.
Yo,
She was dressed up as a dominatrix on the album cover. I'm like, nah.
She used to be dressed up in my bedroom. Fuck.
Bad album. You know what I'm saying? Like that, even the Unbreakable shit she dropped, like the joint which she had with J. Cole on there, that was like the only good song on that Unbreakable album. You know what I'm saying? That was a bad album. Like, let's not.
We gotta review that album. We gotta. Review
let's not blow smoke up these artists' asses. Like when they have salute them when they have classic material, but you also gotta give them that critique when they have shit. And that's just what it's always been for me. Like, yo, I got shitty albums from a lot of these artists.
Speaking of Jay-Z, I'm watching you, Jay-Z. He has some shitty albums.
Yes, I've been saying that.
Let's not put the spade on the spade.
I'm not gonna dick ride Jay because I'm from Brooklyn. Like Brooklyn, I always used to say Nas beat Jay-Z, and I'm from Brooklyn, and I'm saying that. And I said that way before that battle happened in 2001. Nas is a better lyricist. He definitely could beat Jay in a battle, but Jay-Z was more consistent with the stuff he was dropping. Unlike Nas, Nas wasn't like that. But I felt like Jay-Z woke up a sleeping giant when he did come out with Takeover. That's what made Nas come out with Stillmatic and Ether and come out with Godson. And he was just, you know what I'm saying? He woke him up. He needed that. But you know what I'm saying? Jay-Z got bad albums. Magna Carta, I never liked that album. I thought that was shit. Blueprint 2, never liked that album. And I was promoting for Rockefeller. Rockefeller sent me that album in the mail when I was promoting for Blueprint 2, and that album is still garbage, in my opinion. Never liked that album. Um, Blueprint 3, he picked the right singles. I never liked that album, though. I think it was a lot of Timberland filler on that album. Timberland himself even said that. He got into a beef with Memphis Bleak at that time because Memphis Bleak said on the ear that he felt like Timberland gave Jay-Z some throwaway beats for Blueprint 3. And Timberland admitted to that because he was doing Shock Value 2 at that same time. Never liked that album. That's really about it. Kingdom Come was cool. He had some bangers. It was slept on though. It was not a classic album. You know what I'm saying? 444 was cool. I find like a lot of the kids now in this generation, they grew up on 444 Jay-Z. So they don't know about Reasonable Doubt Jay-Z. They don't know about Hard Knock Life Jay-Z. They don't know about Blueprint Jay-Z because it was still an infant. 444 Jay-Z is totally different from Blueprint Jay-Z.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Blackout Jay-Z is totally different from American Gangster Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? But like Jay-Z, let's give Jay-Z his smoke when he needed because he came up with a couple of shitty albums too.
Yeah, I'm gonna say one more person.
Miley Cyrus.
I'm gonna say one
I don't
more
listen to
person.
Miley Cyrus, so I could kill us. I don't never listen to her.
This might be controversial, but Whitney Houston had a few shits in her
Oh
career.
yes.
This might be
Even the
controversial.
queen. Some consider her the queen of all time. She had some shitty albums now.
Take off the shoes and relax my feet.
Okay. And I like the first album was a classic. I like I'm Your Baby Tonight. What's the joint the name of the album with the Heartbreak Hotel? I love that one too.
My Love Is Your Love.
Yes, that was a banging album too. But she has some shitty shit now. Come on now.
The second
That's
album.
not just we're not blowing smoke up the Whitney's ass now.
The second
You know
album I didn't care for.
The best of both worlds. Yes, I didn't like the second one. The first one was dope.
R. Kelly.
Yeah, the
R.
second
Kelly.
one was dope. I don't know if R. Kelly got any shitty albums now. I love R. Kelly.
Oh.
I can admit that I've seen R. Kelly in concert, 1994, Madison
Double
Square
up.
Garden. I still got the concert ticket. To me, if I had to pick one person to have a flawless discography in R&B, it's R. Kelly.
Oh, okay. Now I know you. Now I know. Hold on.
What shitty album does R. Kelly have? Please tell me. What shitty album does R. Kelly have?
Double Up, TP3 Reloaded, Untitled. Those are the three shits album in his career, man.
Double Up was decent. He had some joints on there.
Okay,
Untitled. I gotta go back and listen to Untitled. TP3.
Yeah,
I actually like that one though.
Oh,
But I'm talking more like whack albums. You saying those albums are whack?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I think a lot of them were slept on because of the whole, case and everything. He got blackballed after a while, I believe. Like even with like the album like what's that? Black Panties. Black Panties was a dope album, but it got slept on.
Yeah, Black Panties was cool. It was
cool. It got slept on. The album he did with the Buffet when he dropped the Backyard Party. I like that album, but it got slept on because people stopped paying attention to him after a while. Because of the whole case and everything. So I feel like his music got slept on because he got blackballed. Even the album, was it 4-Page Letter? That album?
Yeah.
That album was dope too, but it got slept on.
When a woman loves.
I ain't saying he got whack shit. I'm saying a lot of his albums in the 2010s got slept on because they started to ignore him because he was getting blackballed. Even with Chris Brown, as soon as Chris Brown smacked up Rihanna, a lot of his albums, like the Fortune album, the Loyalty album, the X album, they got slept on. And those are solid Chris Brown albums. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't listening to Chris Brown before then. I didn't really start checking for him until like the Deuces joint. But he had some solid material after the Fame album. But I felt like he got blackballed because of the whole Rihanna situation.
Shit. Hell, Usher has some shit albums.
Usher as well. Yeah, Usher got shitty albums. Hard to Love. That shit is crap. What's that other shit he did? The Looking for Myself. That whole EDM album. I didn't like that at all. That was bad. What's the last? He got some shitty albums now. He got some shit. He got some shit. They legends, but they got some shit in their discography.
For real.
Mariah. Oh God. Mariah. Where do I begin? After Emancipation of Mimi, he started to slip. EMC Square was okay. It wasn't great. That whole album where she let the Dream and Tricky Stewart produce that Memoirs album. Didn't like that shit. All the songs sound the same on that shit. That one album where she had like Fabulous and Wale and Nas, a whole bunch of collabs. That was garbage. She fell off because she was doing all these collabs.
hold up. Yo. I'm gonna reply to these niggas. I hear you. Cruz Chocolate Factory was a classic.
I love Chocolate Factory.
Yo, and Ronnie. I don't care what you think about Sasha Fierce, but Four and the self-titled, those dope albums too.
I'm
So
not big on Beyonce albums. I love the first one. I think the first one was a
yo,
classic. I like B Day. B Day was dope too, but I'm not big on like the other. I'm not like a huge Beyonce fan. I respect her and what she's done. She is a legend in this game. I feel like, but I'm not like a huge Beyonce fan like that. This nigga got the LL Cool J.
this nigga got shit albums too.
LL got shit. We know LL got shit. Phenomenon. Let's start with that. Walking with a Panther. That wasn't
Hold
no
up.
great album either.
Walking with the
You like
Panther,
Walking
I
with a
let
Panther?
that slide. Walking with the Panther slide.
What? Hell no.
I
I'm that
let
type
Walking with
of
the
guy.
Panther.
That shit was bad. That shit was bad.
Why you think they
Let's be
call it
honest.
dope? Nitro?
I didn't
Come
like that.
on.
I didn't like that album.
I'm that type of guy.
I didn't like that album. I didn't like that song. Yeah,
It gets no
keep on
hunger.
spec. Mama Said Knockout will always be my favorite LL album all time. That is an all time classic. Mr. Smith all time classic. After that, Goat was his last solid album to me. Phenomenon was shit. Everything else after Goat was crap. The Definition again. Timbaland gave him a whole bunch of throwaway beats. It was not his best production. Garbage, garbage album. James Todd Smith album. Garbage. Exit 13. Garbage. What's that other album we did? The shit with the country song.
13.
No, the other shit. The shit after.
Authentic.
Authentic. Trash. He
Authentic.
needs a comeback album. Like the same way Nas came back with Streets with King's Disease. LL needs a comeback album like that. Like, I feel like he still got the talent. He can still do it. But his albums is garbage after Go. He's at the top of the list for me.
I agree.
Redman, the only album, and this is gonna be a surprise. The only album I don't care for is the Reggie album. I don't like Reggie. There's a Dark Side. I never said it was a shitty album. It's not my favorite, but it's not a bad album compared to Reggie. I think Reggie was the only one. Malpractice, I like. I actually like Malpractice. That's why I was so hyped when we did the review because I was like the only one that really was hyped for that discussion because I know people don't like Malpractice. I like it, but it wasn't. I promoted for that album on Def Jam. It wasn't. We didn't do what we were supposed to do for that album. It was delayed many times, and he had like that one big hit with DJ Cool, "Let's Get Dirty," and then he turned around and did the same exact song with Christina Aguilera, and her album got a Grammy for it, and she went like 8 million, with 8 million units, and I promoted for her album as well. So you see the difference. I promoted for both Redman and Christina, and her shit sold more than Redman's album. But I like Malpractice, but it wasn't a great album. But my favorite albums or the first album, What the Album, I love Muddy Waters, I love Doctor Name 2000, highly slept on album. But I think he has a stronger discography than LL Cool J, in my opinion.
Same. Yeah, but listen, I'm gonna call it a night and shit like that.
This was fun.
Yeah, this was definitely fun and shit. Thank y'all so much for watching. Mob
Yes.
Deep, Mob Deep Murder Music.
Still available, right? Still available.
Yeah.
Still available. You ain't got it.
Alright, follow me on Instagram at MCRegMusic.
Yes.
Follow me on Twitter at RealReg1. And donate to the Patreon. Hope everyone has a good day. Next time you'll probably see me is next month. Because we're gonna do the whole Lionel Richie
Right.
Dance on
Yes.
Ceiling
Motown.
month. So we'll see
Yes.
how this one goes.
Okay.
As usual, this is your boy Reg in the building. See
Peace.
y'all later. Peace.